This Mercedes had new wings as part of the restoration we're doing, and the problem that we've got is that these lights do not fit into these wings perfectly. They should go all the way to the end and they shouldn't protrude out at all. But on the other side, it is impossible, or at least I found it impossible, to actually get this headlight to line up. The gap here is too big and it's sticking out. So I've got a theory that these wings are actually don't fit those headlights, and that these wings are for earlier cars that were vacuum adjusted headlights. So what I've got down there is a headlight from a 450 SL, a 1973 450 SL. This is a 1983, and I'm just going to see if that headlight fits in there perfectly. That headlight from a 450 SL 1973 fits this wing perfectly. There's no gaps here. It sits in flush. It hasn't got the indicator cover on, but that doesn't matter. I can see instantly it sits flush. These screw holes actually line up, which they don't on the other light. So that's the problem, is that the wings are slightly different for the later cars, basically to accommodate all of this here. So what's the solution? Let's have a little think. And I suspect that what's happening is that it's catching somewhere here. You can see where the paint's just worn off. And what I've done, or what I've got here, is there are two headlights here. This is from a 73 450 SL, and this is the headlight that came out the car. And they're different because this one has got the vacuum adjust unit. It's also only got 5 pins here. This one's got 6 pins. So this headlight fits perfectly in that socket. However, you can't just plug the plug onto there because the headlight doesn't work. I suspect you'd need to modify the wiring in some way to do it. So I'm going to try and figure out what it is. I'm looking at this here. I can see the red paint on there, so I suspect that maybe it's this bit here that's catching. So I'm going to see if I can modify this in some way to see if we can get a better fit on the headlight. The light, and it's still got the same fitment problem. So the issue is this plastic bracket probably catching just here. Now, unfortunately, that plastic bracket is seized solid on there, and if I give it a whack with a hammer, I'm as likely to shear off that bit of aluminium as I am to free it up. So I've got to make a decision whether to maybe just cut down there and see if I can free that up, because it's probably just slightly at the right angle or the wrong height. The alternative is I could just get a hacksaw and cut that there, a hole through that plastic that will allow me to hopefully crack that bit off. Okay, now the moment of truth is, with that plastic bracket removed, does this light fit? Let's see if I can do this. It fits perfectly now. So the problem is that bracket. So we've either got to modify it, make it smaller, or we move it all together. I'm able to move up and down slightly and back and forwards. The light's still not fitting in there perfectly because this bottom bit is catching the light. So I'm just going to take a saw and just take the end bit of that off to see if it fixes the problem. Now it fits perfectly. And what was happening was, basically this bottom of this bracket was catching onto here and not allowing you to push the light back far enough. So if you are fitting aftermarket wings onto your car and you're having problems with the headlight fitment, it's likely to be that bracket there. Just get a saw and lob the end of it off. It's not a piece you're ever going to see, and now all the holes line up, everything fits perfectly. I'm just trimming that clip on the other headlamp now, and that's about how much you've got to cut off. It's never a good idea to cut bits off a Mercedes, but those wings are not Mercedes wings, they're aftermarket wings. If you don't do that, you won't be able to get the lights to fit in there. Chopped a bit off that bracket, you can see that this is now perfectly aligned and sits flush with that. However, this hole here does not line up with the screw hole. So I think what I'm going to have to do is actually drill a hole there. Okay, this is the screw that I've just put in, and you can see how far out the hole is. There should be a little clip in there that this screws into, but you wouldn't be able to move the light up any further because it's already right up against the top of the fender. So basically these non-OEM wings do not line up perfectly with the vacuum adjustable headlights. If you don't put a screw in there and pull that tight against the wing of the car, then the actual seal there isn't going to be sealing the light, and then you're going to get moisture inside the light, and eventually you're going to corrode the chrome ball. So that there is now perfectly flush on that side, as it should be. Saying before you start tightening the screws up, etc., do make sure that the lights are actually working. If your car's been in a paint shop or body shop for months or years, just make sure that the headlights are actually working before you go to all the effort of lining them up. And next we're going to put this this trim piece here on, and that goes on here. This is part of the wing here, but make sure you've got a U-clip. Once again, these are just from Euro car parts, I think £5.75 a box, and we're using the second biggest U-clip in that box. Once you've got that trim piece there on, just one screw there and one screw here, we'll put the other trim piece on the other side. You've got these trim pieces on. Next thing to do is put this on here. Now that should have actually been painted red, but they didn't have it at the body shop. It's not going to show too much because it'll just look as if it's part of those black grills. It attaches to the wing with a couple of U-clips here and a screw here with what's it called, this piece of trim screwed through there. So hopefully you've got these U-clips, the slightly offset U-clips, and once you've put that piece on, you just need to put these pieces of trim on. We're going to use some 4.8 times 13 fill pan tapping screws, and we're just going to put a washer on each one of those as well.